Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it is the 12th of October, 2024, and tonight was AEW WrestleDream. So a couple of things before we get going. You may be able to hear it. I've been sick all day. So that's why I posted no news, no preview ahead of this show. I wasn't live tweeting or anything. That's why there was none of that. Watched the show literally laying in the bed over there. And then I was like, oh, I got to recap this. Because I contemplated doing it tomorrow morning, but I was like, no, let's get it done tonight. So you may hear it in my voice. I'm a little stuffed up and whatnot. But yeah, been sick all day. Kind of rested while watching the show. Rested all day, really, while watching the NASCAR race and watching this. But yeah, I got a lot to talk about. I thought this was, from an in-ring match standpoint, I thought just about every match was great. Now, I didn't get to watch the pre-show. I didn't watch any of that because I was watching that Roval from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Anyways, so I didn't watch the pre-show. Like, I take that back. I got three screens. I had the NASCAR race on one screen, and I had the pre-show on this screen, but I had the audio of the NASCAR race, and I had the pre-show muted, so I was watching it, but I wasn't listening to it. So I saw things. I know what happened, but yeah. Also, how perfect was it that the third person with MXM was Rico, of all people? I would have never guessed that, but as soon as Rico showed up, I was like, oh my God. That's freaking perfect. Whoever's idea that was, give them a raise. But that was, I think, my highlight from the, pre-show. The big story is Bryan Danielson is no longer a full-time professional wrestler. He is winding down. He lost to Jon Moxley. I wasn't a big fan of how the match ended or the post-match angle, but we'll see. Tony Khan is not at the press conference right now, the media scrum. Tony Schiavone. So usually the media scrum kicks off with, at least the last couple of them, with Renee and RJ City. Neither of them were there. It was Tony Schiavone and Nigel McGuinness. And they all got a somber tone to them and whatnot. And they're like, hey, just want to let you know, we are doing this media scrum. You guys have come here to ask wrestlers questions, and we want to give you that opportunity. But this will be the first time we do one of these. Tony Khan will not be here. Tony Khan is on his way to the hospital with Bryan Danielson. So they're playing that up. That Tony went to the hospital with Bryan and so forth. So we'll see. Couple other things. We got the return of MJF, who apparently, what I was told, is he showed up tonight, but he's got to go back and film more Happy Gilmore. So he's not done with that. So just because he showed up tonight doesn't mean, oh, he's going to be there Wednesday. He might, but I was told that, because I know someone that was there backstage, and they overheard him saying, yeah, I still got to go film a couple more things for the movie. So we got that. And then Adam Cole, he's back as a babyface. No Bobby Lashley, which was very interesting. And they're really, really, really teasing a Swerve Shelton Benjamin match. So we'll get into all of that. We'll talk about all of that as we go. But I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you're watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel, one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. Because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember, September is over, so discounted subs are no more, but Twitch is still allowing discounted gift subs. So if you want to gift a sub to somebody else so they don't have to watch with ads, you could do so still at a discounted rate. Also, remember to help us out over on, and are we, give me 1 second. We may not be live on Twitch. Are we live on Twitch? That's interesting. Oh, I see what happened. All right, we should be live on Twitch now. Accidentally went live on my other Twitch, my gaming Twitch. So let's double check this. There we go. There we go. Now we're live on Twitch. But regardless, head us over to YouTube and help us out over there. Remember, on YouTube, you can hit that subscribe button. That way you know when we go live. That way you know when we post new videos. And that way you know when we post to the community tab. Also, remember that if you want to get your comment, question, or concern read live on the air, you could do so by donating a super chat in the live chat. Greatly would be appreciated if you were to donate some super chats and help the channel that way. Also, remember, you can support the channel by hitting the join button and becoming a channel member. Even if it's just at the $1 tier, we greatly appreciate that. I am working on some video ideas and content and whatnot that I can start pushing out to channel members. We're going to do a $5 tier, just a straight $5 tier. I've got a couple ideas. Maybe do some watch-alongs. Maybe do some retro reviews. So I got some ideas. I'm going to do more, my graphic stuff over there as well. If you guys want to learn how I create my graphics and even get the files, you could do that there as well. But with all of that, also remember to head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're claiming a free game or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or Fall Guys, use this code right here, PW Unlimited, at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Maybe you're getting into the new Fortnite, what do they call it? Fortnite-mare. On Fortnite, they got their new spooky season out. You might want to get stuff there. Also, the free games on the Epic Store right now. I've heard of Outliver. That's a good game. And then I haven't heard of, I'm going to butcher this, Empryon Galactic Survival. Those are free right now. But with all of that, like I said, I didn't fully watch the pre-show, but we do have the results from the pre-show. We do know that Anna Jay defeated Harley Cameron, and the referee had to put Harley's shoulder down. So Harley's getting pinned, and her arm, she's like this, and the referee pushes her elbow down, so that way her shoulders are down. And I'm like, oh, Lord, Harley Cameron. Harley Cameron's a good character, and she gets better. She's getting better in the ring, but it's still the little things. Oh, we also had the Acclaimed defeating MXM Collection. So Rico was there. The only thing that could have made this better is if they also had Chuck Palumbo. Oh my God, that would have been great. We also had the Outrunners, Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly, defeat the team of John Silver, Alex Reynolds, Tony Nese, and Ari Daivari. Did I miss one? I thought there was 4 matches on the pre-show. There we go. Brian Cage is the new Ring of Honor television champion. That is the one match on the pre-show I did watch with audio. Brian Cage defeated Atlantis Jr. to become the new ROH television champion. Crowd was all for it, too. Crowd liked Cage winning. But as far as the main card does go, we kick it off with Switchblade Jay White versus Hangman Adam Page. And oh my God, this match was excellent. This was a perfect match to open the show, to give us the tone of almost everything tonight. Because a lot of these matches tonight, like the tone of this show was boom, 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 action, 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 quick, 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 quick. Except for the main event. I felt like every match tonight was just high energy, high paced, boom, boom, beat the shit out of each other matches. And they kicked it off with this match, and oh my God, was it amazing. So White slapped Page multiple times in the face to dueling F you cowboy, cowboy shit chants. F you cowboy, cowboy shit. Also, I just got to say, let's go to Twitter really fast and see how many tickets were sold. This was a hot, great crowd. Let's see what WrestleTix said as far as tickets. 7,628. As of this morning, 7,628. And you heard all 7,000 of them, because this crowd was awesome. This was a great crowd on tonight's show in Tacoma, Washington, in the Tacoma Dome. So, where was I? Page stomped White in the corner. White answered back by going to the leg and he kept working the right knee of Hangman. At one point, he got Hangman down and grounded him. There was a slingshot through the first and bottom rope, or middle and bottom rope, as White took the fight to the outside with the flapjack on the apron. Page was able to respond with a springboard lariat as he pounded on White before hitting a fallaway slam in the corner. There's a spinning sleeper from Page that got a near fall as Page continued to control the action, while White stepped back a buckshot as he flipped Page off. So the big thing in this match was, can Hangman hit the buckshot? Because White knew where to be to not allow the move to happen. He knew, if I'm out of position, he can't hit it. So if I'm too close to him or if I'm too far away from him, he won't be able to hit it. And we saw that multiple times. At one point, he suckered Page to the corner where he kicked out the leg and hit an underhook suplex. There was a series of reversals that led to White spiking Page with a DDT for a 2. Page then flipped out of a suplex, but landed awkwardly on his leg, allowing White to hit a flatliner for a near fall. White wanted a superplex, but Page dug at his eyes, only for White to chop at him and then trap him in the ropes, giving him free range to also go at the eyes. Referees yelling at them both, "Hey, no thumbs to the eyes." At one point, he hit Page with a DVD on the apron. White then refused to fall back into position for a buckshot, so Page forearmed him many, many, many times in the face. Just shot after shot after shot after shot. White then took all the shots, and while doing so, it allowed himself to hit a dragon screw through the ropes. Page then answered back with an apron bomb, followed it up with a power bomb on the steel steps. And White hit this so stiff. Oh, my God. Referee Paul Turner ordered Page back in the ring, but he wouldn't listen. He took his belt off and tried to whip. And here's my thing. This is when I always say AEW likes to make their refs look stupid. So Paul Turner's yelling at Page, "Get back in the ring. Hangman, go back to the ring. I'm not going to tell you again, go back to the ring." Okay, so if you just tell him and he doesn't listen, there's no consequences. But if you start counting and what's the word I'm looking for? Threaten to count him out, then he's going to come back down to the ring because he doesn't want to lose by count out. But when the ref's just at him going, "Hey, go back to the ring. Go, go, go." And he doesn't do anything. Yeah, he's not going to do anything because there's no repercussions at this moment. So he takes his belt off and he threatens to hit White with the belt. And White's like, "Do it. See what happens." And they're fighting up at the top of the ramp. And eventually, White takes the advantage, grabs Hangman, and drops him bad knee first onto the side of the ramp. We finally get back inside the ring. White hit Page with some jabs and chops until both threw super hard lariats, with White ultimately hitting a Uranagi for a 2. Page tried to hold on to Paul Turner at one point to go for a low blow, but White blocked the low blow, side stepped it, and hit a half and half suplex. White then wanted the Blade Runner, but Page countered into a Deadeye. But he couldn't follow up due to the bad knee. Page then tried a buckshot, but flew right into a Blade Runner, and White pinned him to pick up the victory. So Jay White does defeat Hangman Page in an excellent opening match. Again, if you want to get your comment, question, or concern read live on the air, you can do so by donating a super chat in the live chat. It's the best way to support the channel during these live streams. So next up, we had Mariah May versus Willow Nightingale. Now, I'm not going to say that most of Mariah May's title defenses since winning the title have sucked, but this was her best match since winning the belt, and she needed an opponent like Willow that she can go out there and have a hard-hitting match with and really prove herself as the champion. So I thought this was something that was needed, and Willow may have been like the best opponent for her. The really over baby face against the I'm better than everybody heel, and it worked very well together. So, of course, they played up the whole Nigel is smitten thing on commentary. He talked about how beautiful she is, how pretty she is, and Shivani goes, yeah, she is glamorous, but nasty as well. I thought that was funny. Nightingale used her power early on to take advantage, as May met a cartwheeling Nightingale with a shotgun dropkick through the ropes. May then forced a smile from Nightingale, who responded with a massive pounce before sending May crashing from pillar to post. May swept the legs out from under Nightingale in the corner as May unleashed punches in bunches. There's another snap drop kick that got a near fall as May kept Nightingale grounded, attempting the kiss of death, but Nightingale answered back by biting Mariah May. Nightingale then put on the brakes and slammed May down repeatedly until a combo ended with a spine buster for her too. May then fought off a Dr. Bomb attempt as she countered into a release German suplex. She wanted to go for the Storm Zero, but Nightingale pulled out the legs and got almost an Indian Deathlock. It's kind of a weird looking submission. Like, it wasn't a figure four, but it wasn't quite an Indian Deathlock either. So yeah, kind of weird. And then at one point, she grabbed Willow grabbed Mariah's head and started bashing it into her own knee. And I was like, oh, that's kind of different. Not the best looking of spots, because they were so zoomed in on it that you could see her head not hitting the knee, but it was fine. It was fine. At one point, Nightingale hit a cannonball in the corner. She went for a moonsault, but missed, allowing May to go up for a missile drop kick. May connected on a Mayday, but Nightingale kicked out, leaving May shocked. At one point, May floated over a Dr. Bomb attempt, but Nightingale went for a DVD. Each traded pin attempts. Nightingale up first with a big boot and a violent running DVD into the corner for a super close 2. May battled back, wanted a corner head scissors, but Nightingale teased a powerbomb, only for May to hit a Hurricane Rana. There's a charging knee strike that led to a Storm Zero, allowing May to pin Nightingale and pick up the victory. So there we go. Mariah May does win and retain the AEW Women's World Championship. This then leads us to our next match. Jack Perry versus Katsuyori Shibata with a TNT Championship on the line. Now I'm going to say, good match, but it just got very, very overbooked and congested after the match. So, Shibata used his mat wrestling early on and out-wrestled Perry, forcing Perry to take multiple powders before Perry got out of the ring, dumped some water on his head, and then threw the water bottle at Shibata. The chase was on here as Shibata jumped out of the ring to go after Perry. Perry suckered him back into the ring and then took the advantage when Shibata jumped back into the ring. Shibata shook off some kicks and dared Perry to kick him some more. He just sat there and said, hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me. There were some cheap shots that sent Shibata to the corner. Shibata was looking like he'd no-sell some chops, so Perry opted to rake the eyes. Again, Shibata no-sold it. And Shivani described Shibata's shots as Wahoo McDaniel-like chops. Perry did fire back with the forearm, but Shibata dropped him with a snap suplex. Perry would then spit right in Shibata's face as he continued to no-sell the kicks and rolled through a boot from Perry and then booted Perry in the face pretty violently, I would say. He then hit some machine gun chops that actually looked really good. Usually I think machine gun chops don't look good, but Shibata's here did look good because he kept up with the same cadence throughout. He didn't eventually start going so fast that you could see him not hitting or barely hitting, so... where were we? At one point, Perry avoided a corner charge drop kick as he wanted a draping DDT on the apron, but Shibata countered with a gnarly snap suplex on the edge of the ring. Stalling corner drop kick led to the front chancery suplex for a 2. Some Kawada kicks unloaded by Shibata. Perry then blocked a charge and applied the snare trap, but Shibata got the ropes, so Perry successfully This time, a spiked Shibata with a draping DDT on the outside. A DVD connected, followed by one onto the knee of Shibata, who sank in a rear naked choke, only for Perry to bridge up and get Shibata down on his shoulders. He then pinned him. So Shibata had a rear naked choke. Perry laid back, and Shibata just laid there, didn't let go, and the ref counted 1, 2, 3. Kind of an anticlimactic finish there, I would say. I would say the finish here was very anticlimactic, and then this led to 2 big returns. The post-match, Shibata asked the referee what happened. How did I lose? And Perry would hit him from behind with the TNT title. Perry tried to hit him again when out would run Daniel Garcia, who ran Perry off. Perry ran off into the crowd, and then we hear the music of MJF. MJF's music hits, and he comes down to the ring, power walking down like MJF does. Garcia and MJF stared each other down until Perry ran in and blasted Garcia with the TNT title and then bailed again, allowing MJF to take control. He grabbed a microphone and said he saw Garcia has had a busy time, signed a new contract, but I've been making several movies, making several millions of dollars. MJF said, you may have had he said, your bidding war in 2024 was as real as the Seattle Supersonics, and this crowd in Tacoma booed that big. MJF thanked Garcia for telling him where his Dynamite Diamond ring was because, well, he was able to go get it from the pawn shop. He then walked into the corner, put the diamond ring on his finger, and said Garcia will kiss the diamond ring. And then it was all about the boom when Adam Cole came out. And I'm just going to say, Adam Cole, looking skinny. Oh boy, did he look skinny. And granted, I don't know how much Adam Cole's been able to train and whatnot since the injury a year ago. But like his arm, like Adam Cole's always looked like a skinnier guy. But like his arms, there was, and I could be wrong here, didn't look like there was much muscle definition. And it's just, he looked like a skinny dude running out there. But got a huge pop from the crowd. Nigel McGuinness said this is only the beginning. He ran off MJF. MJF wanted nothing to do with Adam Cole. He had that, I just saw a ghost look on my face. And Cole helped Garcia to his feet and gave him a fist bump to show respect. But yeah. So MJF is back. But like I said earlier, I've heard that MJF may not be back yet because he's got to go do more filming for Happy Gilmore 2. And we know he's going to be in another movie with Justin Long and Ron Perlman called Stranglehold. So we'll see how that all goes with his schedule. But good to see Adam Cole finally back. Adam Cole walked up the ramp and said, I'm putting the entire roster on notice. I want to fight anybody and everybody. Then we had the triple threat for the international championship. Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and Konosuke Takeshita. And I saw the people trying to compare this to AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Christopher Daniels. I will always be partial to AJ, Daniels, and Joe. That'll always be my favorite triple threat. But this match was really, 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 really amazing. So Don was on commentary here. Ricochet and Ospreay immediately double teamed Takeshita early on. And then they eventually, they were going a mile a minute with all kinds of things. They did I like this spot. So they did their backflip Spider-Man drop down post thing. And I'm like, oh, why are you doing that? But then Takeshita immediately runs in and double drop kicks them both. And I'm like, oh, that was perfect. That was perfect. And Don, I love Don's line here where he's like, yeah, these guys got egos and they got a little cocky there. So that was a good spot as well. My back is starting to hurt and I don't know why. Anyways, trying to get a little more comfortable in this chair. Where was I? So Takeshita took them both down. Takeshita then sent them both crashing into the barricade as he's getting a good ovation from the crowd. Crowd really liked all three of these guys. And it was weird because Takeshita's the heel, yet they kept cheering him. They really kept cheering him here in Tacoma. Takeshita spiked Ricochet with a suplex before setting up a table at ringside. Comes into play later. Way later. Takeshita wanted a blue thunderbomb at one point off the apron, but Ricochet floated over back into the ring. Takeshita missed a charging knee, and Ricochet tried a Sasuke special, but was caught. So Ospreay did one of his own and wiped out the pile. Back inside the ring, Ricochet hit a neck breaker on Takeshita, who simultaneously connected on a DDT on Ospreay. Ricochet then tried a rolling flatliner, but it allowed Takeshita to fire off some fastball forearms. There was finally a blue thunderbomb, but it got blocked. Ospreay flew in with a handspring Pele kick that took both men down. All three men then fought on the apron above the table, as Takeshita was knocked back and forth with some strikes until Ricochet dodged an Os cutter. Ospreay then tried to launch off of Ricochet's back, but Takeshita caught him with a Death Valley driver on the apron. Ricochet then flew off with a Meteora onto Takeshita. Ricochet placed Takeshita on the table as he went for a dive, but Ospreay cut him off with the charge and a Spanish fly for a 2 in the middle of the ring. Ospreay wanted to go for the Stormbreaker, but Ricochet popped up into a snap Hurricane Rana for a 2 of his own. Ricochet blocked a hidden blade attempt into a snap backslide bomb for another near fall. Ricochet then went up top as he rolled through a 450 as Ospreay hit a pop-up powerbomb into a Styles Clash for a 2. Huge pop from the crowd when he hit that Styles Clash. Takeshita broke it up. Then things started to get very wild. Takeshita wiped out Ospreay with a gnarly crunchy roll into a deadlift German as Ricochet flew in with a handspring, with Takeshita countered into a blue thunderbomb for a 2. Takeshita wound up and waffled both Ospreay and Ricochet with forearms as both slowly got to their feet and decided to go 2-on-1 on Takeshita. Takeshita buckled, but kept rising as he destroyed both with the loudest forearms you'll ever hear. Ospreay then tried a thrust kick, caught Ricochet until a wall walk enziguri hit Takeshita, who then avoided an Os cutter initially. Takeshita then threw a lariat, so he hit a hard Ospreay flip to his feet and hit a Os cutter that only got a 2. Ricochet then flew in off screen with the 450 to break up the pin. Excuse me. Crowd started chanting "Fight Forever" at one point. There's a wild chain of poison Ranas that led to Takeshita hitting a double German suplex on both men. Takeshita then brought Ricochet to the corner as Ospreay cut it off and did a top rope Hurricane Rana, then sent Ricochet flying into the arms of Takeshita as he collapsed for a 2. Takeshita at one point looked down at the table as Ricochet fought off with a pump curb stomp. Kind of like he was going for the vertigo, kind of, but then Takeshita countered into a crunchy, and that actually went through the table. Takeshita fired up, high-fived Callus. Ospreay then met him with a hidden blade and only got a 1 off of it, though. Ospreay then hit it again, but Callus pulled out the referee. Remember, no DQ in a triple threat. Callus then went for the screwdriver shot, but Ospreay blocked it as he teased a Tiger Driver. But Kyle Fletcher would run down to the ring and hit Ospreay with a screwdriver of his own. Fletcher stared down Ospreay as Takeshita dropped the knee, hit the power drive knee, or dropped the knee pad, hit the power drive knee, and pinned Ospreay to pick up the win and become the new international champion. I really thought Takeshita was going to win by pinning Ricochet, but no. They had him pin Ospreay, which interesting, I would say. Great match. After the match, Ospreay crawled to Fletcher, who picked him up, him with Tiger Driver. Dawson told Fletcher he's proud of him. They all walked to the back, Takeshita with title in hand. Excuse me. So they finally did the turn where Kyle Fletcher turned on Ospreay. We saw it coming. We just didn't know when. Excuse me. Renee Paquette's backstage with Orange Cassidy and Jerry Lynn. This was weird, kind of, I guess. Jerry Lynn told Cassidy that he's never seen anyone like him in his 40 years in the business. Lynn said that he knows Cassidy has been going through some stuff, but with all the chaos going on in AEW, Cassidy tried. He could be the man. Hook walked in and told Cassidy, listen to Lynn. He's the man. What? I don't know what this was and what this was supposed to be, but yeah, this was a waste of time on a 5.5 hour show. It was short, but it wasn't needed. What? Jerry Lynn telling Orange Cassidy, if you try hard enough, you could be the top guy. And then Hook's got to come in and go, listen to him. He knows what he's talking about. What? When was Jerry Lynn ever the man in a company? ECW? No. TNA? No. WWE? No. So, yeah. Jerry Lynn's great and awesome and amazing, but I didn't think this was needed one bit. Then we had what I thought was kind of long, Swerve's return. I thought this didn't need to go as long as it did. So Prince Nana introduced Swerve Strickland to the ring. A huge hometown crowd ovation where it's like, this guy says I'm from Tacoma, Washington. He literally moved away when he was like 2 months old and they never moved back. What? Wait, let me read you Swerve's bio. Real name Stephen Strickland was born in Tacoma, Washington on September 30th, 1990. His father, who was a sergeant first class cook in the United States Army, moved the family to Germany when Strickland was only 2 months old to live on an American military base in Frankfurt. Strickland spent the first 7 years of his life in Germany. The family later returned to the United States and settled in Mount Joy, Pennsylvania, where Strickland attended Donegal High School. He danced in talent shows and excelled in football, basketball, track, and field. Yeah. He was literally 2 months old when they moved from frickin' Tacoma. So, sure. Tacoma's your hometown. It's your place of birth. Anyways. Prince Nana asked whose house is it. They said Swerve's house. Strickland then made his way out. Strickland said it feels weird being out here without the AEW title around his waist, but he's happy to be home once again. Strickland said that his medical update is that he still feels wonky and has tingling in his fingers. As everything he said about Bryan Danielson is coming back to him now. His karma is real, but he is medically cleared, even though he doesn't feel 100%. I'm like, what? You have tingling in your fingers, but they've cleared you to compete? That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. How is someone going to go, I don't feel right, and I got tingling in my fingers, but yeah, you can go have matches. What? That makes no sense. Strickland then wanted to address his hometown crowd. We want to talk about his past, present, and future. Before he can do much, out would come MVP and Shelton Benjamin. And like the whole time, I'm just sitting here going, when are we getting Bobby? When are we getting Lashley? Where's Bobby Lashley? No Bobby Lashley. No Bobby Lashley at all. MVP said that it's his future that he wants to discuss. As maybe his minion didn't give him MVP's card. Strickland must be thinking about the decisions regarding his future. MVP believed in Strickland before, well, he even believed in himself. Crowd chanted Swerve's house, and MVP said they're right. But Strickland's career is floundering at the management of Prince Nana. And thankfully, MVP is good at taking former champions and reminding them who they are and what they're great at. Strickland said, first off, hi. Then brings up a match apparently they had years ago in Defy where he beat MVP. Strickland said that MVP takes stars and makes them into superstars, like Benjamin here, who was a huge inspiration to him when he was like 12 years old. He paved the way for black wrestlers to do what they do. Strickland turns to Nana and said MVP wasn't wrong, that the past few months really didn't go his way. Since being with Nana, Strickland lost it all in, all out, and his childhood home. On the other hand, he wouldn't have all the things he has without Prince Nana. Said the potential for Strickland and MVP, they could make history. MVP and Benjamin backing him up, he could be even more dangerous. Strickland brought up his wages have gone up week in and week out, and brings up Nana still selling weed to high school kids. The biggest thing about Nana is he's a family. And Strickland doesn't turn his back on family. MVP can take that business card and shove it up his ass because, well, this is Swerve's house. Benjamin and Strickland then misread the situation. They weren't asking, they were demanding. They were you're either with us or against us, MVP said. Things got a little scrappy as referees. Christopher Daniels ran down. Benjamin was convinced by MVP to retreat. Looked like he wanted to fight Swerve, and yeah, so cool. Not much to it. I felt like it went a little long. And it's basically just setting up that Swerve is not going to be with MVP, and now he's going to feud with MVP in his group. It works. So then they tell us apparently there was an altercation on the 0 hour where Mercedes Moné disrespected people in the production crew. And so Queen Emanata wants to stand up for them and will fight Mercedes on Wednesday. What? Sure. I didn't see the angle, so yeah. Then we had Hologram versus the Beast Mortos in a 2 out of 3 falls match. They went 2-1, of course, with Hologram picking up the win. Really fun. By the end, both men looked destroyed. So it was Mortos who used his speed early on with a springboard arm drag, but Hologram met him with a head scissors, then a tilt-a-whirl arm drag until both traded quick pin attempts, and there's a stalemate. Hologram then flipped out of a backflip off of Mortos' shoulders, low-bridged Mortos on the outside as Hologram hit full-speed tope that sent both men nearly halfway up the entranceway. Back inside the ring, Mortos cut off a charge with a reverse sling blade and a snap crucifix slam before a pop-up Samoan drop got a 2. Hologram then hung in the ropes, and Mortos tried an avalanche press, but it was countered into a head scissors midair and a top rope dive crucifix bomb. They got the first fall for Hologram. So Hologram does pick up the first fall, and it's like, I'm not a big fan of 2 out of 3 fall matches anymore. Back in the day, they were really good, but now it's, you always know they're going to go to the third fall. Tell me the last 2 out of 3 falls match you saw. I can't think of one that only went 2 falls. I can't think of one. So Mortos was up and launched Hologram clear out of the ring. We follow this up with a twisting tornado. Mortos then pressed Hologram up over his head and tossed him hard down onto the ramp. There's a headbutt that fired off from Mortos, who followed this up with a release overhead belly to belly into the corner. Hologram then sunk in the Tree of Woe as Mortos charged in with a spear, but missed a second, allowing Hologram to hit a top rope moonsault to the floor. Back inside, Hologram just got enough of a poison Rana as Mortos answered with a reverse torture rack and a backbreaker. There was a powerbomb here onto the knee that followed up the discus lariat that got Mortos the second pin of the match. Tony Khan mentioned this was the first time Hologram's been pinned in AEW. There's an immediate discus lariat from Mortos that got a 2. Hologram then fought back in the corner, but Mortos attempted an avalanche torture rack. Hologram spun out of it with the head scissors off the top rope. At one point back inside the ring, Hologram hit a double stomp off the top, went for it again, this time trying a 450, but Mortos got the knees up. There's a follow-away moonsault from Hologram, who then was met with a discus lariat by Mortos with a double down spot. Oh. I apologize, guys. All the coughing and my voice just not sounding right. It's, like I said, been sick since last night. Where were we? At one point, both men climbed to the top rope. This time, Mortos hit his avalanche press slam for a close 2. Mortos again hit the torture rack backbreaker into the powerbomb on the knee and a discus lariat for another near fall. Mortos then kept rolling for the ribs, holding on to his ribs, and commentary pointed out that it looks like he may be hurt. Hologram then cut Mortos off in the corner and hit a Super Hurricane Rana. Again, up top, Hologram hit his diving crucifix bomb and a cradle, kind of similar to the first fall. Hologram then manages to get the portal bomb and pin Portal bomb with the cradle to pin Mortos and pick up the victory. So there we go. Hologram ultimately does pick up the deciding fall victory. Next up, we did have Darby Allin versus Brody King. Holy crap. Did Brody King just beat the shit out of Darby in this match? The majority of this match was Darby getting his ass beat. Like always, but I felt like more than normal. There's video of Darby Allin skateboarding, then traveling through the streets of Tacoma, pulling in the back of a bus while skateboarding to the Tacoma Dome. That's kind of cool. Early on, King caught a dive from Allin, tried launching him into the steps. Allin rolled through, leapt off, and King demolished him with the forearm in midair. King then trapped Allin under the steps, walked up them, and then stomped on them. Boy, did that look like it hurt. King then trapped Allin under the steps. Oh, I already wrote that. King then had his way with Allin for a little while, violently battering and beating him in the corner. There's a tree of woe that trapped Allin at one point, who managed to dodge a King cannonball and then hit a dive. Ooh. All of a sudden, I can't stop burping. Allin at one point sank in a rear naked choke over the top. A callback to how King won the Royal Rampage. But King draped Allin over the top and dropped him on the edge of the ring. This then allowed King to get the choke, but broke it at 4 before tossing Allin back inside the ring like a sack of potatoes, like he weighed nothing. There's a German suplex followed by one on the apron off the top inside, and finally an avalanche one off the top by King. They got a near fall. Both men then landed hard on some suplexes. King then looked at the steel steps at ringside, but tried to so Brody King tried to suplex Darby off the top through the steps, but Darby blocked it and pushed him on and then hit a coffin drop on the steps. Crowd chanted, holy shit. Then they did this twice tonight. My least favorite spot in all pro wrestling. You're dead, 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 dead. And then the ref says 9. And all of a sudden you can get up and jump back into the ring after you're not moving for 9 seconds. What? But this then led to Brody King rolling into the ring, Darby hitting him with a coffin drop and pinning him to pick up the victory. So there we go. Darby wins. Afterwards, both men get to their feet, and Brody King offers a handshake out of respect. So then this leads to our next match. The Young Bucks defending the AEW World Tag Team titles against Private Party. So Private Party had this video that played of them getting motivated to be more serious, to train harder and not just be all about taking shots and going to the party. And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting video. Cool. Who's the guy? And they tell us that was Amazing Red. I'm like, what? That was Amazing Red? Okay. Didn't even realize it. So, Young Bucks grab the mics early on before the match begins. They say, cut that awful music. They talk about the video that played, and they said the closest you're going to get to these titles are when you sniff them and they put them in Private Party's face. Then they start brawling. They brawled all around ringside and in the ring and outside the ring, and eventually they're fighting. The Bucks try to run away, and they're fighting up at the top of the ramp. So they're fighting, and Mark Quinn goes on top of one of the entrance tunnels. And he has swanton off the tunnels. Eventually, they get back into the ring, and the match eventually starts. Nicholas was brought into the ring with a crossbody for a 2. Nicholas then fought back with a springboard facebuster on Zay, but Quinn dodged a moonsault and hit a double Hurricane Rana on the Bucks as Zay flew out with a dive. Back inside the ring, a combo offense got a near fall as Matthew made the blind tag, with the Bucks hitting an assisted sliced bread and super kicks on Zay and Quinn. The Bucks slowed the pace, keeping Quinn isolated until a Pele kick created distance. Zay made the hot tag and ran wild with the pop-up double drop kick and an Asai moonsault onto Nicholas on the outside into a springboard spinning DDT onto Matthew for a 2. Zay then tried another Hurricane Rana, but Matthew hit a buckle bomb as Nicholas hit a double stomp into a pop-up or to a power bomb attempt. This was encountered into a Zay Hurricane Rana. There's a wild springboard bounce back X Factor from Zay for a 2 at one point. Silly String was countered, and Nicholas hit a twisting dive off the top to the outside. We saw top Flight, Layla Gray, Action Andretti, and Leo Rush sitting in the front row. And they didn't, but they did kind of come into play here. The Bucks threw Private Party over the barricade, right into their laps, basically. Nicholas then hit a moonsault off the barricade. He wanted to go for the TK driver on Zay, who fought it off with the Poison Rana on Matthew. Nicholas then flew over the barricade with a destroyer. Quinn then launched off the barricade with the 450, leaving everybody down. Then they did my least favorite spot. All 4 men are down. Down. 7, 8, 9. And then they say 9, and literally they say 9, and we see whoop, whoop. All 4 guys can just all of a sudden at 9 jump up at the same time and slide in the ring. What? You're dead. You're not even, like, no one was even teasing, kind of moving or anything. Hate this spot. I fucking hate that spot. Jose ramped up the flurry of offense until both he and Nicholas found themselves on the top, and Nicholas hit an avalanche cutter for a 2. There's a TK driver cut off by Quinn as they teased how Private Party won the first time with the roll-up for a 2. Blockbuster by Quinn on Matthew, who planted Nicholas with the DDT simultaneously. Bucks then hit double team, double stomp as they pumped up their kicks, hit a super kick, looked for the more bang for your buck, but it was blocked. Private Party then went for the gin and juice and got a close 2 off of it. Private Party then hit super kicks and a more bang for your buck of their own, but Matthew broke up the pin. Nicholas then fought off a gin and juice, but with Zay on Quinn's shoulders. At one point, there's a dropkick into a senton from the Bucks, which then allowed them to hit the EVP trigger on Zay, who did kick out. Huge pop for the kick out. Quinn was then spiked on the outside as back in the ring, Zay dodged the second EVP trigger and nearly got a cradle for a 2. Zay then fired up, but Matthew flipped him off into a TK driver out of nowhere for the victory. So there we go. Young Bucks retain the titles. Good match, I would say. I thought these guys worked really well together. Really, really good match. So another good match here. Mark Briscoe versus Chris Jericho. The ROH title on the line. Jim Ross joined commentary for the final 2 matches, this one and the AEW World title match. Briscoe wasted no time going after Jericho in the corner as Excalibur reminded us that this is an ROH rules match, and in ROH, there are 20 counts, not 10 counts. Jericho fired out of the corner with a code breaker, but Briscoe kicked out a 1. Briscoe quickly fought back, set up a chair in the ring, went to leap off of it, but Jericho tossed the chair aside. Big Bill then went to check on Jericho as Briscoe hit a dive on both of them on the outside. Briscoe then hit his diving blockbuster off the apron on Jericho, who was sitting in a chair. The ref then went to check on Jericho, so Big Bill booted Briscoe, grabbed a table, and set it up against one of the announce tables. Orange Cassidy appeared and fought off Big Bill, basically. It was a rolling DDT by Briscoe, who wanted to go for the J Driller on the apron, but Jericho blocked it and escaped. Instead, he had a suplex to the floor. Jericho took the camera and just held it for a couple seconds while he put the boots to Briscoe and then handed it back. Briscoe then hit some redneck kung fu inside the next to the ring. He then went to the top, but Jericho cut him off, and you can hear him go, "Ah, my balls!" Jericho then hit 10 punches and a Hurricane Rana off the top. Jericho opted to pose, which gave Briscoe time to fight back with some forearms and some chops. There's a fisherman's buster that spiked Jericho right on the top of his head as Briscoe wanted to go for the J-Driller, but Jericho swept the legs into the walls of Jericho. Briscoe managed to get to the ropes to break the hold as Jericho again took the referee, allowing Brian Keith to come down and hit the cheap shot. Jericho got a 2 off of it. Brian Keith then argued with the referee, saying he didn't do anything. Rocky Romero ran down. They brawled to the back. Jericho then had a chair, and Briscoe hit a big boot into it, basically launching it off Jericho's face. And then he dove into Jericho as well, and they went through the table that Big Bill had previously set up. Back in the ring, Briscoe hit a froggy bow, but he leapt. It went for a froggy bow, but leapt into a code breaker from Jericho for a 2. Briscoe dodged a Judas effect, avoided a J-Driller, but Briscoe ran right into a Judas effect. Jericho didn't go for the cover and hit the J-Driller instead. Went for the pin, and Briscoe kicked out. Briscoe fired up and no-sold a bunch of shots from Jericho, who eventually would hit a rolling fireman's carry, froggy bow, J-Driller, and pin Jericho to pick up the victory. So there we go. Mark Briscoe is still the ROH World Champion. Let me move into our main event. It is Jon Moxley challenging Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Title. This match was different than every other match as far as it had, at least to me, a slower pace to it. More methodical pace, you might say. And as we learned, this is Danielson's last match as a full-time professional wrestler. Now, Marina Shafir was at ringside with Moxley, and she played into this match. Danielson came down, posed up the top rope, but Moxley didn't want to waste any time and went straight after Danielson. They start brawling on the outside, and the match had not officially began yet. They keep playing Final Countdown. The song just keeps playing through the building as they're fighting all around ringside, choking each other with cables and cords and whatnot. Eventually, they go in the ring, and Danielson's like, ring the bell, start the match, and ding, ding, ding. Bryce Remsburg starts the match. Danielson turns the tables and choked Moxley. Shafir then jumped on his back, and he slammed her off. Moxley at one point connected with a lariat, bringing a chair into the ring where Danielson hit a Busaku knee right into it, and the music finally stopped. Moxley avoided a backflip out of the corner and sank in a bulldog choke as Danielson countered into a Saito suplex and another Busaku knee for a 2. Moxley regrouped outside, but Danielson wouldn't allow it and hit a springboard somersault dive. On the other side of the ring, Danielson hit another dive, spilling onto the Spanish announce desk. The two then got on top of the desk, and Danielson hit yes kicks until Moxley raked the eyes and hit him with the pile driver on the table. Danielson clutched his neck as Moxley took a swipe at Nigel McGuinness for some reason, which was very awkward and weird. Moxley then got into the ring. Danielson tried to go after him, but Marina actually stopped him. Moxley distracted the referee, and Marina hit a bunch of knees to the face of Danielson. Moxley remained in control, stomping down over and over again on the bad neck of Danielson. Moxley continued to target the neck with Shafir again, getting her licks in. Referee got suspicious, and she said, I didn't do nothing. Moxley then gave his orders. Shafir exposed the concrete. So she's lifting up the padding. She lifts one. She lifts another one. So she got 2 sets of the padding. And Jim Ross goes, well, god dang, this woman's strong. So, where were we? At ringside, Moxley stepped on Danielson's head on the steel steps at one point. Started yelling with arguing with the fan at ringside, where the fan goes, he's your fucking brother. He's your fucking brother. And Moxley's like, yeah, fuck you. And he's got his foot on Danielson's head on the steel steps, just holding him down. Eventually, he goes to take him over to the exposed concrete. He wanted a pile driver, but Danielson managed to backdrop Moxley instead. Moxley then ripped away at the tape from Danielson's neck, and he bit him while they were in the corner as well. Took too long here, though, giving Danielson a chance to bite him back and hit some yes kicks with Moxley trapped in a tree of woe. There was a superplex blocked by Moxley, so Danielson opted to Spider German out of the corner. Moxley avoided a top rope headbutt at one point into a curb stomp for a 2. He went for a gator roll into the bulldog choke. Knee off the front. There's a knee off the front chancery before back to the choke. But Danielson rolled out into a desperation pile driver. Both men then slowly got up to their feet as each fired off forearms with yes and no chants from the crowd. There's a head of steam for Danielson, who hit a flying clothesline and fired up with more yes kicks. Danielson went for the home run shot, but Shafir ripped at him. And Moxley hit a cutter. Bryce finally kicked Shafir out. She was reluctant at first. Excuse me. Woo. She finally left. Moxley tried to go for the Death Rider, but Danielson spins out and fires off a third Busaku knee. Only got a 2 off of it. Oh. Starting to not feel good again. Danielson stomped down on the face of Moxley before transitioning into a label lock, but Moxley got to the ropes. Danielson wanted another dive, but Moxley caught him in the Death Rider on the concrete. And as he hit it, the whole crowd just got quiet. Back inside the ring, Moxley made the cover, but Danielson kicked out. Anvil elbows from Moxley to Danielson, rear naked choke, but Danielson, with Moxley on his back, climbed to the top rope and they fell off to break the hold. Danielson then got another label lock on as both countered submission holds until Danielson hit another Busaku knee for a 2. Danielson wants the home run shot, but ran right into a King Kong lariat. Danielson then wants the home run shot again. Moxley then flips off the crowd, hits the Death Rider, and Danielson kicks out at 1. Crowd explodes. Danielson would then spit in Moxley's face and slap him. Moxley connected with a gotch-style pile driver before sinking in a rear naked choke once more. Danielson eventually faded, never quit, but the referee called the match. The referee ends the match. Danielson loses. Moxley's your new champion. Not a big fan of the finish, I will say. Not a big fan of the finish here. Then the post-match was just like, what the hell did we watch? It was just a little much, just a little too much. So Danielson's kind of out of it, but he's kind of rolling around the ring like he's trying to get his wits about him or whatever. And out comes Claudio, Pac, and Marina again. Claudio's got a black bag. They take the AEW title and just stuff it in the bag. Don't know what that means. Why they don't, what? They don't care about the belt. Essentially, I guess. Shafir then hands Moxley a plastic bag. We know what that means. Wheeler Yuta and Darby Allin run out to stop this. Darby's got a chair. They bail. Allin was backed with Allin's back turned. So, how do I say this? Wheeler Yuta is with the BCC but doesn't want to be with the BCC. It seems. It's more of a you're either with us or against us, and he doesn't want to be against them. So Darby turns around and boom, Wheeler, who was just checking on Bryan, hits Darby with the Busaku knee. And they then take Darby and they duct tape his arms to the bottom rope in the corner so he can't help. They're fighting Bryan. Well, actually, they're just beating down Bryan, basically. And Yuta is on his hands and knees, dejected. Like, he didn't want to do it, but he knew he had to for his own well-being, his own safety. Because if he was against them, they're going to beat his ass too. And he didn't want to be against them. So they're all in the ring. Claudio helps Wheeler up. He tells him you did the right thing. And Moxley hands Wheeler the bag. Wheeler then has no choice but to put the bag over Bryan's face. Puts the bag over Bryan's head. And he basically chokes him out. Darby's yelling, stop, stop, don't move, don't do that. Others then run down to try to stop them. Private Party, they get dispatched. Jeff Jarrett, he gets dispatched. Moxley hits him with the chair, and eventually Jeff Jarrett's bleeding under his eye. Eventually they put a steel chair over the neck of Bryan Danielson. Claudio then calls for Moxley and says he's ready. Moxley checks it and goes, go. And Claudio stomps the chair onto Bryan's neck. Eventually, more people from the back come out. Orange Cassidy, Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia, Mark Briscoe, and others. So the BCC run off. They bail with Jim Ross wisely asking, where the hell have they been? What took them so long to come out here? Doctors are checking on Danielson. They load him on a stretcher. Jeff Jarrett helps as well. They loosen the bottom ropes, and Excalibur crying on commentary, trying to get out the words to explain what we just saw. Crowd then chants, "Thank you, Bryan." Darby Allin is sitting on the outside, just all kinds of sad and scared. Doctors continue to give Bryan medical attention. They put him on a stretcher, and they stretcher him out of the building, and the show ends just on Darby, which is interesting. I do think eventually Darby's going to be the one to beat Moxley whenever this finally ends, and then Darby wins the world title. But this was a weird way to end the match. With he didn't lose, but he lost because he didn't get pinned or submitted. He passed out. And then the post-match was just very weird. Very brutal, I would say. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. It was just, honestly, it felt a little awkward, if I'm going to be honest. But with that, that was AEW WrestleDream. Let's get the poll up here on Twitch. What did you think of WrestleDream? I liked it. It was all right. I didn't like it. So as we check all the other polls as well. As far as the Threads poll. Oh, I didn't do a Threads poll. As far as the Twitter X poll. Interesting. 37% liked it, 34% thought it was just all right, and 28% didn't like it. As far as the YouTube community poll, 55% liked the show, 24% thought it was just all right, and 21% didn't like it. From the comments, Moxley got the AEW World title back. First four-time world champion in AEW. Versus Come Back Soon Tony. And then with him now dropping the AEW World titles, does that mean Bryan Danielson is now a free agent? Well, Bryan Danielson's been a free agent. But what this means is Bryan Danielson is no longer a full-time professional wrestler. I mean, could he go to WWE? Sure. He could have gone to WWE for the last month if he wanted, but doubt it. As far as the YouTube live poll does go, 59% liked the show, 25% thought it was just all right, and 16% didn't like it. And finally, everybody that voted on Twitch liked the show. With that, guys, that is going to wrap everything up. I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. I'm going to go lay down and try to get some more rest to feel better. Have a great night. Have a great rest of your weekend. And we'll see you next time.